Welcome to the deep dive of the new map, Hedge Maze, that arrived in the recent 1.1 patch. It is the front outside area from the map, Mansion Hedge Maze. While it might look complicated at a glance since it's literally a maze and has little ceiling space, after a closer look it is surprisingly straightforward. I'm going to cover a few different topics in this video, so check out the time codes on the screen and in the description if there's a specific thing you want to watch. Let's get started. For a quick map walkthrough, we'll start at the top of the map with the north gate, which is open from the beginning. Just next to that, nestled in the corner, is the first covered section. As we head south, we get to the east gate, which opens up on wave 3. Heading across to the west side of the map, we run into the second covered area right in front of us. Just past that is the west gate, which opens up on wave 2. Headed back towards the middle, we go up the main staircase and we get to the rift itself with 2 sentinel priestesses we can buy. And there are staircases back down on either side around in the southeast and southwest corners. There is not a lot of ceiling space available on Hedge Maze, so any barricade strategy you use, you want to try to make the best use of the available ceiling space as possible. To this end, we're going to route the west and north gates up through this covered section in the northeast. Then we're going to meet up with the enemies from the east gate and route them all through the covered section kind of on the west side. Now, luckily this map does not require very many barricades. It's very easy to route them the way we want, so even with 16 barricades, that's more than enough. First, we'll block and send the west gate enemies to the corner and on around, so now they're meeting up with the north gate. Then we're going to force all of those guys up here to the corner, as we said. Next, we'll force the east gate enemies to come down and meet them. So this will force them kind of through this circle, and then back around here. Then we can come down and force them to the right, and then force them through the second covered area. And we even have an extra barricade if we only wanted to use 16. That will work wonderfully. I would probably put that right here, move this back one just to keep them and force them up this staircase in the corner, which just adds a bit of a route, lets you catch back up with them if someone does get through. So let's look at what an example trap setup would look like. For the kill box itself, I have tar and cursed ground for the floor traps, wall blades and wall scorchers for the wall traps, ceiling pounders, and an ice lance for the ceiling traps. The goal being to keep enemies in this box as long as possible with the slow, stuns, and freeze, and then just do as much damage as possible to them. To whittle them down a little bit before they get here, I'm going to have some briar and some poison flowers spruced around. That will hopefully expand over time. And then I've started working on a kill box here, but there's just not much to it yet. Just a single cursed ground tar and just a little bit of wall damage. Oh, and an ice lance to hopefully keep them right on there as long as possible, or at least group them up as they pass over. So let's see this kill box in action. Overall, the setup worked very well. I died once early on and leaked a small flyer, which can always give Callus a bit of trouble, but later waves went by totally smoothly. It's a standard barricade setup for a reason. This second barricade setup is probably only useful if you're dealing with a lot of rift corruption in the covered areas of the map. Otherwise, it's best to just use those covered areas because ceiling traps can be very, very good. But if you are dealing with that rift corruption, I would block off the front entrances up to the rift, leave one space all the way over on the right, and make use of this long, long straightaway. There's the open space right there. Then you have a good chance of using a lot of wall traps, have a decent amount of floor space, and you have tight corridors. So if you were more of a fan of something like Morning Stars or Saw Blade launchers, they will bounce around and work very well. But here I'm using the wall blades and the push traps to just try to keep them in the area, along with the tar traps, and then have boosted cursed grounds to just collect souls and hopefully do a lot of damage that will carry you on to complete this mission. So let's give it a try. The run for this setup went even better with no deaths and no leaks. I would still suggest the first setup if possible because there's no reason to give up ceiling traps if you don't have to, but as a backup, this strategy should work just fine. As always, if you want to see how the barricade setups worked in their entirety, check the description for links to the full runs. For chests, we'll start in the northwest of the map with the first location. Just south of that is the second spot in this corner. Continuing down the side, one can spawn in this small nook. The next chest is up in the southwestern balcony and requires extra movement to be able to reach. The last location is at the U-turn in the southeastern corner of the map near the staircase. Thank you for watching this deep dive video. If you know any information or strategies that you think I should have included, tell me in the comments. Also let me know which maps you'd like to see a video for next. Later, War Mages.